kid in Little League or whatever the case might be. I know it's a very busy time, but I just feel it's important to try to get together to clarify anything and hopefully be proactive to prevent problems in the future. Before we actually start, I just wanted to go through some of the handouts that were over on the table. You didn't necessarily need all of those handouts, so I thought I'd go through it and explain what they are. A couple that you do need to pick up, if you don't have them now, you certainly can pick them up at a later time. But I thought sooner better than later, so that we don't have the start of practice and people are still looking for things like their pay to participate forms filled out and turned in, things like their permission slips. So hopefully everybody got a pay to participate sheet and a student athlete and parent contract, which also doubles as a permission slip to participate in high school sports. Also, the next three sheets are things that maybe you need, maybe not, and I'll explain that. There was extracurricular activities permission slip, and that is for any player that plans to either attend our summer defensive skills camp in June. We need to have that filled out and on file, and we can use the exact same one, so you don't have to fill it out twice. But if you're going to go to that one, and or if you're going to attend our Swamp Foot camping extravaganza, then you also would need this. But like I said, one sheet will cover both situations. If you're not going to attend either of those, and that's okay, then you wouldn't need that one. I don't know what color of green this is. I'm not a green color person. It's some form of green or yellow, or what's the fancy name for this? I'm not sure. Is it mauve or chartreuse or lime or something? But this line paper right here, this is not one of our forms. It's just, I know we had some kids last year, and in the last few years have gone to Vertimax that our basketball coach, Sean Sherrill, runs in the summertime, and they've had great success doing it. I'm not advocating, encouraging, or discouraging. I'm just making it available to you, because for those of you that are looking for a little extra edge on speed work, I do know there's great results in this, so that's available for those that are interested in it, and that's pretty self-explanatory, the flyer is. And then the last thing, again, is something that you may or may not need. Most of the players already picked one of these up, either at their meeting here at school in the spring, or recently, or at the middle school. So most of you may have already had that, but if you want another one, it's also available. And I'll point out later on as well, the website where you can find that calendar also is on our team website. So there's always some type of avenue to get that information. Okay, before we get into the meat of it, I just thought I'd like to introduce today our theme for this year, for our entire program, and I hope you can see this in the back. You know, as we know, every year we think there's something that we should really focus on. And this year we thought trust is paramount. And for those of you, I mean, we're all involved in all types of different relationships, whether it's a marriage, obviously a parent and kid, or in our case, a football program or football family. Probably the number one element that makes that bond strong is trust. Trust in self, trust in others, mutual trust. So we thought it'd be pretty important here really to focus this year on that. And I just kind of broke it down. I'm not going to go through the whole thing with you, but I wanted to explain a little bit. You may be looking and say, well, why are these things repeated? Okay, and as we see the bottom, the foundation of our brick wall up here, okay, deals with the off-season. And you'll see things like academics and behavior, and then again we see behavior here again, then we see academics and behavior up here. Obviously that's pretty important. If you can't take care of things in the classroom, okay, it's pretty hard to trust that you can do the right thing on Friday night or even be available to play on Friday night. And certainly if you can't act the right way in the halls and in town, it's going to be pretty hard to trust you to be on the field to represent your team, your teammates, your coaches, your school, your community, and your parents. So some of them are on there for multiple reasons, multiple times for multiple reasons. Okay, like I said, I'm not going to go through the whole thing. We just thought, in the off season, these are really the things that we're going to focus on to build that trust. And presence is pretty obvious. You got to be there. You got to be there. It's hard to trust somebody if we don't see you. Okay, and we get up into the preseason, we're going to focus a little bit more. Yeah, I just pointed this out. We need to make sure that stuff is taken care of before the season starts. Okay? We get into the regular season again, academics and behavior. We all know that we cannot participate on Friday nights if those things aren't taken care of. And to be quite frank, Friday night doesn't matter if this isn't taken care of. This is the most important thing, and I'm not sure one is more important than the other. I mean, certainly academics are important, but being a young man of great character is going to take you a lot farther in life. There are people out there that don't have great grades, go a long way in character, and I'm not sure vice versa happens. They get no excuse with attendance, and then we get to the playoffs, and it all comes together, and we're on one single mission. I'll try to stay out of the way of that projection unit. And is this clear when I speak into this? You hear me clearly? Okay, I'll do my best. I'm not used to these too often. All right, there's four primary areas of interest tonight that I wanted to cover. And I'll try to be somewhat brief, but not so brief that it's not explained. I want to introduce our very brief, this is the briefest part probably, is introduce our high school football program. Discuss our summer schedule, then field any questions that you may have, and then probably the main reason you would want to come here is not to see me speak and listen to me, but rather our guest speaker. Okay, our football program. A lot of you already heard this before, but some of you haven't, and that's why I go through them, because I think it's important. We have two mantras here in St. Clair High School football. Okay, one of which says, and they really mean the same thing. They mean the same thing. It's two different ways to say the same thing, because one person hears one thing and makes sense to them, it doesn't make sense to somebody else, so we do it two ways. Do the right thing for the right reasons in the right way. Obviously that's on the field, that's in the locker room, that's at home with your parents, that's when nobody's watching. And it really means the same thing as our second mantra. Prepare like a champion, play like a champion, and live like a champion. I don't think you're going to be very successful in life preparing or playing if you don't live like a champion. You can pretend and you can fake it for a while, but it always comes out in the long run. And we've seen enough examples in our society in which that's true. Okay, so let's talk about our mission. This is, to me, a once-in-a-lifetime opportunity for your children and for us student-athletes to develop as young men. That's our number one mission, while playing the great game of football. Okay, football is really just a vehicle for us. I mean, obviously, I love the game. I've been, infatuated with it since probably I was still in diapers. But it's really our vehicle. Okay, it's our vehicle to help them develop positive lifelong memories. Okay, to develop character traits, passion for life, honesty, responsibility, accountability, self-sacrifice, and teamwork. We know that's not a real popular thing in today's world of what's in it for me. And that's why it's important for us to work on those things. Self-sacrifice and teamwork, that's what makes the families thrive, that's what makes the business thrive and the community thrive. Things like discipline, hard work, and dedication. Those are the things we really work on. And we do that while playing football, not vice versa. Okay, I'd also like to briefly introduce our coaches. I'm not going to go long into that either, because we'll do that in the fall when Mr. Cook has that program meeting where everybody in all athletics shows up. And we have a breakdown session where we break into football and the other sports. So I won't go through too much with them, but I thought I'd like to at least introduce them today. We have Coach Miller up here. And when I say our coaches, again, I'll talk in greater detail in the fall, but we're going to restructure the way we do our staffing and the way we work with our kids this year. There really isn't a freshman coaches and junior varsity coaches and varsity coaches. All of our coaches will work with kids at all levels. Whether he's the head coach of the varsity, he will be working with freshman and JV kids every day. Or whether he's a volunteer freshman coach, he's going to work with varsity kids every day. It's going to give us greater flexibility and be able to pool our resources and get a lot more out of practice at all levels. Okay? So what I'd like to get to now is how we can help each other. Okay? Keep in mind, I'm trying to help you with your mission as parents. I think that the message we try to send in St. Clair football is probably the same message you're sending as a parent at home. Okay? And likewise, we're asking you to help us.